Good evening and welcome to the November 2021 meeting of the Penfield Public Library Board of Trustees. And thank you for watching. Those of you who found us, we're here on a different evening this month to accommodate schedules. So it is Monday, November 15th, and next month we will be back to our regular Tuesday schedule. So I'd like to welcome everyone who is here in the room and also anyone who is watching at home. The first order of business is the approval of minutes. Did everyone have a chance to read those when Deanna sent them out? Is there a motion to approve or any comments? Brett? You want to? And Niraj seconded. All in favor, please signify by raising your right hand or left. Niraj, would you like to give the finance report?
Sure, thank you. So we'll start at the Gift and Memorial Fund. The Gift and Memorial Fund, our balance is greater than our minimum balance that's in policy, so that's a good thing. Our checking account balance that I wanted to kind of bring our attention to, that has about $5,500, savings account about $5,000, so it's come down a bit over the course of the year. We do have a $45,000 CD maturing next month, so I'm gonna ask for guidance sometime soon on what you want to do. Our operating net revenues and expenses are within the budget. That's looking good. If we flip to the monthly budget summary, and this is through October, so that's 10 months out of the year, which is about 83%. On the revenue side, we're looking good, despite fines, copies, and interest lagging behind budget. The shortfall was partially offset by more state aid than budget. Total expenses are about 70% compared to our 83% threshold for October run rate. That's great news. Wages, the most controllable, that's 6% better than budget. Materials, that's significantly better than budget, 23% better. Contractuals are flat, and other ancillary line items that are less controllable are looking pretty good. So it's, in short, in conclusion, it's a great month, but just wanted to advise our director that hopefully we can spend some of the planned materials like books, recordings, and videos if possible in the coming months. That's about it.
Does anyone have any comments? Is there a motion to approve the, thank you, Judy, and Denise seconded. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, that is carried. This meeting is open to the public. It's available on YouTube and on Penfield Public Television. Do we have any communications this month?
No, we do not.
Thank you. Linda, would you like to give the...
Sure. I was looking at the minutes from last month and the things I brought up. I remember I talked about the Penfield landmark that used to be the Forster home on Atlantic Avenue. It did change hands, and the town board approved it last week, so that'll continue as it's kind of like short-term apartment leasing, but they've done a really good job in cleaning it up and bringing it back to its glory, so to speak. And I mentioned about the marijuana, that we had a public hearing. No one came, but we are not going to allow lounges when the sale of marijuana becomes legal next year in the state of New York. We're not going to allow lounges. That's the one thing. And so that was something that, based on the last conversation. And last month I talked about the Halloween and the Ghost Walk, and everything was so successful. So many people came out, and they were really happy, getting their kids out in those activities. And I want to mention the one thing that's coming up for December, because we'll meet after this, is Santa's Winter Game Olympics is something new that the rec department's putting together. And that's for Saturday, December 11th at 11 a.m., where, families get together and do some sort of Olympics. And it's something different. It's in the rec brochure if you want to take a look at it. It'll be advertised heavily soon. And tomorrow night we have a short meeting. One thing we're approving, which is I think it's kind of neat. It's Project Hope. St. Joe's has it, and it's a food shelf that has other things going for it. And they've been working out of the church, but they are going to be at 1771 Penfield Road, kind of in the Four Corners, and have an office. It's on a bus route, and so they'll serve the community in that fashion at a more visible location. So they're pretty happy about that, and that's something we're going to approve. That's, we're winding down. We only have a couple of meetings left, really, because next week is Thanksgiving. We don't have a meeting. And then we have 3 meetings altogether, I think, until the end of the year. And then we're going to have a change of supervisor and a new town board member, and it's going to be a lot different for sure. So, it's the end of the year. Anybody have any questions about what's happening?
I don't think.
The Olympics was really fun. We did it 2 years ago, so.
Did you?
Mhm.
Great.
It's a lot of fun for the family.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
Niraj, do you want to give the Finance Committee report? I think you have a bill.
All right, I think we gotta approve a bill for consultant for $675.
Yes.
If we can get a motion.
Thank you, Denise. Is there a second? Thanks, Melissa. All in favor of paying this bill? Thank you. Okay, motion's carried. Is there anything else that you have that you'd like to talk about?
So I was just wondering, like, if you wanted to give me guidance regarding that CD at this meeting. It doesn't mature until the 26th.
The 26th of
Yeah.
December?
Right, but that'll give a little time to, or we can think about it. Why don't we think about it and then you can get back to me?
Why don't you see what the rates are? And I think in one of the messages you sent, you mentioned something about putting 30 into
Correct.
another CD and having money because
The rest,
because I know we've got the feasibility study to
Yes.
finish paying for and so forth.
yeah, that's why I was just concerned, because we kind of drained it down a bit, the
Well,
checking.
that's what we're supposed to be
Right,
doing.
no, and that's
with it.
fine, I'm just,
So, yeah. If you could check on the rates and maybe
so I'll
send
do
it.
I'll do the rates, I'll get back to you guys on it, the terms and everything, and then I'll give you my suggestion.
That would be helpful. Rachel, would you like to give us an update on the search?
Sure. Judy has joined as a co-chair of the committee, so we are working together just to get everything prepared. Bunny was kind enough to send all of our canvassing letters out for us, so thank you, Bunny. We really appreciate your help with that. Today was the last day to submit applications, so I'll be coming to the library either tomorrow or, or Wednesday. Give the mail a couple days just to catch up, just in case. And then the full committee is going to be meeting on Thursday. Judy and I drafted kind of a long list of questions, potential applicant questions. So we wanted to meet with the full committee, make a selection of our standard questions that we'll ask each applicant so we can compare them fairly. And then we're going to submit those questions to a consultant just to make sure that we're within our boundaries. We don't ask anything that will get us in trouble. And so we're working away at the process.
Very good. And about how many candidates are there right now?
We have 4 candidates right now,
There may be more after
Right.
today.
depending on if any more applications come in and depending on interest as we go through them.
Okay. Thank you. This is connected with the community survey, but Melissa, would you like to talk about the drawing? Maybe give a little background for people who weren't familiar with that?
So for the community survey, we told all of the respondents that if they left their name and email and completed the survey, they'd be entered into a drawing to win a gift card to Amazon. And so I went through our list. We had over 600 people leave their names and emails, and I used the Google random number generator to pick a winner. And the winner is Jane Bartlett, and we have her email, so we will be reaching out to her to try to coordinate a time to pick up her prize. So.
Very good. Thank you.
That was a good motivator then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And Megan is not here. Rachel?
Yes, last month we presented and discussed briefly the policy, and I don't have it right in front of me. It was for our term lengths.
And term limits.
Term limits. So has everyone had an opportunity to review that? And were there any additional changes besides the ones that Bunny had already mentioned?
No, I don't think so. I read it again today.
Too. Yep.
Okay.
Looks good.
So I think we should be ready to vote on that.
Right. I'd like to make a motion to adopt this new term limit and term length policy.
And this term limit policy changes the term limits from 5-year terms to 3-year terms, and it has a maximum of 2 additional terms following that for a total of 9 years
And it goes into effect in 2022.
in 2022, which is coming up. So any of us who are renewing our terms as trustees will renew for 3 years and not 5. Is there a second? Thank you, Niraj. All in favor? No opposed. Very good. Thank you. Bunny, we're ready for the director's report. Do you have anything you'd like to say before we ask questions?
No? There's a lot going on, Bunny.
As usual, yes.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that I had a question on, and you covered it here that it happened, but what was the outcome of our meeting with the woman from NYLA, with the Friends, the Foundation, and you and me and Judy representing the library? Was there another meeting set up, or was that decided to wait until after the first of the year?
There's another meeting in January.
Okay.
Will the same group be assembling, including the representative from NYLA? Or was she just there the first time? Do you know?
I don't know.
Bunny, do you know?
She's planning on attending this
good.
next meeting.
I think that would be helpful.
Yeah, 'cause she knows all the ins and outs to all of that.
I
Yes.
thought she was really very good. I had a question on the combination Rochester Public Library MCLS Rock Holiday Village.
Oh, I had the same
Oh,
question.
yeah. I know what you're-
And I was wondering, it said it'll be open Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays and Sundays, and it gives dates and times. Will all the volunteers be staff?
Actually, it turns out that the opportunities we have to participate are very limited. They're limited to 2 Thursdays and a couple of shifts on the 2 Thursdays. So if you're at all interested in participating in that, I can forward that information to you. But I was a little bit discouraged when I saw Jennifer's follow-up to that, that I received after this, I prepared this report, that it was so the opportunities to participate were rather limited.
Well,
What
I
will they
was
be
thinking-
doing? Oh, sorry, go ahead. I was just wondering what they're going to have at their table.
Handouts, probably some handouts talking about programs and services of the various member libraries, and probably some promotional materials.
It's an outdoor activity, is it not?
It is, but the table for Monroe County Library System is inside in one of the
They have a really large, I don't know, I think it's heated, I'm not sure, tent.
It is heated,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, it's a fun activity.
I just thought you'd be interested in hearing about them. I thought we were going to have some more opportunities to volunteer, but all the opportunities to volunteer pretty much take place while we're working, and I'm perfectly happy to release staff. I'm not going to be during my work time, but I'm happy to release staff if they want to do it. I haven't heard any interest yet. And then the other ones go quite late at night, and I don't keep late hours anymore, so especially if I'm working downtown and you're involved in takedown and then having to get home and get up for work the next day. So I didn't like the hours of the evening shifts on those Thursdays for myself, but fine for other people.
Would you be able to include any Penfield-specific information at the table, or is it?
That was our plan, yes. I'll be contacting Jennifer and see what we can send
Yeah.
downtown for the member libraries. That's why I was excited to see that she had been able to secure that table. I thought it was an opportunity for us to submit some handouts.
Would that be a place maybe the foundation could have some information, or is that a separate sort of
I don't know. I think it's more activity related, is it not?
I
programming?
think so.
Programming?
Yeah.
Yes, I think it's more programming related and services within the libraries.
I think that the rec center Winter Olympics might be more of an opportunity for the foundation to have something, and also the Friends. That would be more Penfield, and that's
Right.
really their audience. Does anyone else have any questions for Bunny?
Bonnie, I was just wondering on the staff training day, where you said that some of the staff shared what they learned from some of the workshops they've been to. What kinds of things did they share that would be good for us to know?
Well, they only had an hour to present, and because there were 7 of them, I wanted everybody to have a chance to offer something that they had gotten out of the workshop. So that was pretty much what they shared, their takeaway from the workshop. We did an interesting little exercise that was an adaptation of an exercise they did in the workshop, which involved many more people. It works best if you have a larger number of people than we had in our group. What they did in the workshop was to line everybody up and in one line, and then they had several different categories of privilege. And every time you recognized that you matched one of those categories of privilege, you were supposed to take a step forward. And presumably, the longer the list goes on, identifying the various levels of privilege, it eventually narrows it down, so a very small number out of the original number end up being the ones standing. The way they adapted it for us was they gave us a bookmark, and they had for each category of privilege, there were different colored threads, and you were supposed to take a colored thread for every time you recognized that you were privileged, and then those threads at the end of the whole exercise would go into making a tassel for the bookmark, and there were instructions on how to do that. So you could take that away from you, maybe remind you of all the ways in which we might not have recognized going into the exercise that we were privileged in some way, and
Interesting.
have to think about that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to add, Bunny, you mentioned how Sarah Terry and Natalie Birch spoke about what they're doing for strategic planning. I've been working with them, and we actually met today and walked through the entire library, actually every part except the teen center. And we jotted down all the different touch points where we think we can make some improvements. So we have a nice list going right now, and I'll send it out to everybody to take a look at. We're going to meet again next week and look at the teen center, but we're getting a really good list going, of a wish list, I guess, of things we'd like to do. But they mentioned they're doing a lot in the children's area with reorganizing the way the books are shelved or categorized, I guess. So, and I think it'll be a nice change when they do it. They're trying to explain it to me, and I'm probably not going to get this totally right, but they have J fiction, they have paperback fiction, They have series, and they're going to try to consolidate them all, I think, or somehow just organize them so it's a little bit easier for patrons.
Oh, I'm delighted to hear it.
So, yeah. So
I've been trying for that for years.
it sounds like it's a pretty big undertaking, but
Huge,
they're
yes.
hoping in the next year or so that they can do that. And then we had talked about rearranging the whole space in there, and so we have some good ideas going.
Great.
Thanks, Melissa, for working with them, and thanks to
Yep.
Sarah and everyone else on that committee.
They have the new young adult librarian who started the 1st of this month.
Yes.
Would she like to come and talk with us next month at our December meeting?
Yes, she can do it because she couldn't have done it tonight because tonight's her night to work. It would have conflicted with this, but Monday's her night to work, so she's free Tuesday night. I'll check with her and see if she can come.
Oh, thank you. I think it would be nice for us to have a chance to meet her because that's not part of the library I usually go to.
Well, I like the Fishman children's activity. I was sorry I couldn't go to that. Sounded fun.
That was popular.
Well, it looks like they're doing an awful lot in the children's area.
Yeah, well, they've got the personnel to do it, so I expect great things out of them. Yeah, they have a lot of great minds to offer a lot of ideas for programming.
I did want to say, I was excited to see the tween crafts. My daughter has been going to it, and it's nice because it's kind of bridging that gap. It seemed like there was a little while where it was like most of the programs were for the really young or the teens, and this is a nice way to fill that gap.
Our personnel right now is working out very well. We have a children's librarian who prefers to work with the younger children, a children's librarian who prefers to work with the older children, and then an excellent young adult librarian, so we're able to make that arc and cover all the age levels, right, for youth services. So, and I know Stephanie has been enjoying, our new young adult librarian has been enjoying participating in that tween craft, getting her feet a little wet with programming here. That's good to hear. Thank you, Rachel.
Thank you. Thank you for your report. Under new business, we have a letter from Bonadio that's a proposal for doing some work trying to follow up on looking at cash handling and donation practices, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Everybody knows where everything is, and I think it'll make things easier for Deanna, it'll make things easier for me, and hopefully for the new librarian, that we all have the same set of information. So did everybody have a chance to read that? Do you have any comments? Questions?
I just had a question for Bunny. It says they estimate, I think, 30 to 40 hours to go through this process, and I was wondering if you thought that was an accurate estimate.
Well, it sounded like a long time to me, but that's not my area of expertise, so
I think that it is an outside estimate. It's more of a not to exceed,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
I thought it was a lot of, I mean, I
seems
was
high to me.
surprised
Yeah.
at how the cost of that escalated as they spent more time.
As they
Yeah.
spend more time. Yes.
Yeah, it just seemed high to me, and I just thought if Bunny they sort of bulleted out what they expect to do, so I just thought if Bunny had a better guess of how long she thought that might take, we might, I don't know.
Well, we did have a procedural audit not that long ago that was pretty thorough, so I can't imagine that it would take any more than maybe half that time, but like I said, it's not my area of expertise.
Well, it's obviously not my area of expertise either. But I do know that because I worked in a business where we had to do estimates for people, that it is much easier to give people an estimate that could be twice as much as you think it's going to be and come in less than it is to give them something that you hope is accurate and have to say, well, I'm off by $500. I mean, that's sometimes that can be a difficult conversation. So that was what I read when I saw that. Is there a motion to approve this? Thank you, Judy. Second, Niraj, thanks. All in favor? Okay. And you are working on the file creation and your protocol, your schedule for the year?
Yes, I am. I'm every time I think I've got that finished, I think of something else, so I'm a little bit hesitant. I want to be comprehensive about it, so I'm a little hesitant to prematurely submit.
Well, you have
anything.
some time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's good, thank you.
I had
We
a
are
quick
ready for-
question just
Yeah.
before we do the claims payment. I was looking at, I think our last meeting, we said we were going to put the community survey on our Board of Trustees webpage for the community to view, and it isn't there yet, I don't think. Or if it is, I didn't see it. But I noticed at the bottom, though, we have all of our minutes, and they go back to 2012. And I didn't know if we should maybe consolidate a little. I don't know if we
Maybe
need to
have
go
them
back
no
that
more
far.
than 5 years?
Yeah, I just, they have minutes for each year, and it starts in 2012, and I just thought we probably don't need to have it go back that far, but.
I think that's a really good thing. I think if we go back 5 years, that should be quite enough.
Should probably check the handbook.
we should,
It may be
yes.
outlined in there.
I'll double check with Miriam, because I thought she sent me an email that said she had posted that, but I'll just double check.
Yeah, I only checked the Board of Trustees page, so if it was somewhere else on the website, because it could have been there, but.
And that is where I did ask her to post it, but maybe something got lost in translation. I'll check on that.
Okay.
Thank you for bringing that up, Melissa. Are we ready for the claims?
Yes. Yeah, I did the the vouchers this month. I would like to have a motion passed to approve the vouchers of $40,819.74.
That amount has changed, unfortunately. It's now $42,267.32.
Just out of curiosity, why did it change?
We had an additional invoices that came in. Actually, it was for Midwest Tape for the videos. We've had additional videos that have been brought in, and invoices were finally mailed to us.
Okay.
Okay, we want to pay our bills.
Yeah. So with the new amount, $42,276.32?
67.
67, sorry.
So is it Niraj? You want a second Brett's motion? Okay. And all in favor? That is passed.
Just a quick reminder, please use your microphones.
Sorry.
And I'm trying to figure out, we've been kind of off on who is doing this. I think we're up to
It could be
Rachel.
me.
Yes. And then Denise will be in January.
Okay.
Okay. Very good.
I might remind you, too, that the person who does the
Short one in January.
audit has to do the baby one in January, too.
Yes, there's one that we have right at the beginning of the year. We have to have a very short meeting on, I'm not sure what day of the week the first is, or the second, but we need to meet and approve everything then. think that is it for our agenda this evening. Would someone like to move to adjourn? Thank you, Melissa. Is there a second? Brett, thanks. I'm glad we had a lot of seconds for that. All in favor? Thank you. Meeting adjourned.